Raymond Weil founded his eponymous company in 1976. The Genevan-based firm has gained a reputation for making watches that deliver a high quality price ratio. It has produced both mechanical and quartz watches, and from a personal point of view, I've liked some models and been less keen on others. However, when I first saw this watch, the new Freelancer Flyback, I immediately fell under its spell. Why, you may ask? Allow me to elaborate. Back in the 1930s, pilots' watches complemented cockpit instruments. Famously, the Luftwaffe created a specification for pilots' watches. Details included a triangle index noon, a hacking seconds, and a case that protected the movement from magnetic fields. The models were typically 55 millimeters in diameter, and they were worn over the pilot's sleeve. The crown was onion-shaped and oversized to allow manipulation with glove-clad hands. There are various companies that continue to offer these period-inspired watches. Raymond Weil has embraced some of these design elements, but fused them with the chronograph, and not just any chronograph, but a flyback chronograph. The Swiss brand has set aside the black tones associated with utilitarian pilot watches of the 1930s, favouring rich green hues. The hour and minute hands are silver-toned and lined with white superluminova. Each hour is denoted with Arabic numerals, save for 3 and 9 o'clock, where triangular indexes are used. This is a clever design. The indexes don't encroach on the adjacent counters or vice versa. The counters are snailed. A 30-minute chronograph register sits at 3 o'clock and features a yellow hand, while a small seconds hand resides at 9 o'clock, which is silver-toned, matching the hour and minute hands. The central chronograph seconds hand is presented in bright yellow. This is a dial rich in detail, but without being unduly fussy. The hour track sits above the centre of the dial. It features a granular finish. The edge between the hour track and the lower level is endowed with a gleaming beveled edge that readily engages with light. A minute track frames the dial and proves very useful when reading off elapsed seconds. Measuring 42 millimeters in diameter, the case of the Raymond Weil is stainless steel coated in grey PVD. This latter treatment endows the model with a vintage aesthetic. The watch comes supplied on a brown card leather strap, featuring 4 rivets, again a detail found on 1930s watches. To the rear of the watch, a pane of sapphire crystal affords partial views of the movement. The brand has chosen to apply a propeller motif to the sapphire, which is okay, but it does inhibit viewing the movement. And it's the movement where I get particularly excited. The RW5530 is a flyback chronograph. Raymond Weil has a close relationship with Sellita, the Swiss movement specialist. Sellita makes off-the-peg movements, but it also creates custom movements too, as in this case. Like a regular chronograph, pressing the push piece at 2 o'clock starts and stops the stopwatch function, while the push piece at 4 o'clock resets to 0. However, with the flyback chronograph, assuming the stopwatch is operational, pressing the push piece at 4 o'clock causes the stopwatch to stop, reset and restart, all in the blink of an eye. This feature is particularly useful when timing consecutive events. By performing 3 actions with 1 press of the push piece, the recorded time has greater validity. There is less chance of human error or hesitation. On demand, a chronograph draws power from the gear train. This involves using some form of command device and some form of coupling. On many chronographs, this takes the form of a cam and an oscillating pinion. However, on superior chronographs, a column wheel and either a horizontal or vertical coupling is used. This flyback has a fully integrated movement featuring a column wheel and a horizontal coupling. This is a traditional approach, and it's often prized by watch aficionados as they are able to see the chronograph engaging and disengaging. Unfortunately, I can't see this take place because of the propeller and the large bridge adjacent to the column wheel. However, what I can say is 2 things. Firstly, when the chronograph is activated, the central chronograph second hand begins its journey without any hesitation or wobbling. Secondly, the push piece action is supremely smooth. Be under no misapprehension, this is a fabulous movement. The watch has a power reserve of 56 hours. So, closing thoughts. Well, the dial is simple to read, it's free of clutter, but it has some beautiful and considered details. It gets a big tick from me. The case is wonderfully executed, and I particularly like the slight vintage appearance of the case with the grey PVD finish and the onion-shaped crown. My advice to Raymond Weil is introduce more dial variants and afford greater sight to the chronograph mechanism at play. In fact, you could even release a hand-wound version for purists. I've worn this watch for a week whilst on holiday, and I've loved it. Raymond Weil has a winner on its hands. Considering its modest price of £3,695, there is much to recommend this watch. Would I buy it? You betcha. Until next time, watch geeks, keep collecting.